And we are live here, emergency pod. We're reacting to Mr. Klay Tompson leaving the Warriors here. What's his legacy with the Warriors? Where does he sit Bay Area wise with it? What's ahead for both teams? The team he's going to, the Mavericks, a little bit. What holds, and then what's the future for the Warriors, which nobody knows. When Michael Dunleavy's running the franchise, there's a lot of nervous Warriors fans out here in the Bay Area, or at least I am one of them. So. But I do love the positive tweets people keep giving. We love it. Let's go, Kyle Anderson, baby. So we're gonna reflect on Klay a little bit, and to do it, you got nobody better than my brother Casey, and of course the biggest Klay lover I know, Tyler McGurk. Gentlemen, emergency pod here. Tyler, Klay leaves. He's on to Dallas. You said Sunday. I think your quotes were, "Until it actually happens, I'm not gonna react to it." Well, it has happened, sir. The feeling of him leaving, going to another team.
It's disappointing, but I think it's for the best. The Warriors fan and the organization and the Klay relationship was souring, and I think this was the best time to end it. I think it will preserve his, not that it needed any person or saving, but it will. The sourness will never get so deep where there will be this unforgiving thing towards Klay Thompson. When Klay Thompson comes back, he will get a standing ovation. And when they build that statue and retire his jersey, which he deserves and he earned as being the second greatest Warrior of all time, in my opinion, behind Steph Curry. Some people might say Rick Barry or Mullen, but I think it's Klay Thompson.
I think Rick Barry.
And I don't think it's really close, but that's for other people to decide and their opinions. I think this is the perfect time for them to split. The Warriors need a fresh start. The big three wasn't going to win anything together.
I thought you'd be a little bit more sad, I guess.
No, I am sad. I love Klay. I'm going to miss watching him play every night, but I will enjoy him from playing for a different franchise. I'll root for him when he's not playing the Warriors. I'm about the jersey more than the player always. That's what it is. But it's sad. But at the same time, I think this is the best thing that could have happened to this relationship.
JC?
Yeah, I mean, it's sad, but I don't agree with the way they parted ways. I mean, it's just Klay's bitter still. I mean, obviously, he saw Poole get his money, he saw Wiggins get his money, he saw Draymond punching people's lights out, still getting his money. I get it that they gave him that 5-year, I think it was 191, missed 2 of those years with the ACL and the Achilles following, but man, after you see those guys getting paid, I mean, Klay's still averaging about 18 points a game, a little less than 40 from the 3, 41% from the 2-point field. I still think he's got it. I mean, would we get Kyle Anderson and Melton? I would rather have Klay, just speaking. And I mean, Klay did so much for this franchise that I just think without Klay, there is no Steph. I know Steph is great and he's amazing, but there is no Klay. Or there's no Steph without no Klay. I mean, how many times people say Curry was not clutch? Game 6 Klay, that was his name. I mean, you look at it, man, the Thunder, 41 points, 11 threes. And then he goes into the Rockets, Game 6. They're both down in these series, 3-1, 3-2. And he gets 35, 6-2 against the Rockets. So, I mean, and then he played, people forget about the Raptors. He still had 30 points in that game, 8 of 12 when he got injured with the ACL. So,
it was going up.
Yeah. No, I agree, Case. I got his 37-point quarter kind of up here in the background as we're talking about it. These were the moments kind of reflecting back on Klay a little bit with early on. This was, as we say, as prime Klay as we get. He had this 3-year run where he had no conscience whatsoever. He could get red hot more than any player in the league, more than Steph even for a period of time. He wasn't dominating the game ever on a day-to-day basis like that. But I mean, we saw it multiple times where he would go 2 quarters or a quarter and he would be the better shooter. He'd be the better player. He was the better defender. And you guys mentioned he's the second greatest Warrior ever. I really don't think it's close. I think it's. I mean, this is the Splash Bros. I mean, this is going to go down as probably the greatest Bay Area duo, I think, ever. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat this duo.
Yeah, it's close.
Montana. Four championships together. kind of in the same era, didn't say, hey, let me go join you, Steph. You know, they kind of built it naturally a little bit. They're both very likable people. They both were pretty humbled for being as good as they were. They both played hard. I think that's why, and then they both were magical. I mean, we saw it right here. Like, you had players on your own team. Both of these guys had players on their own team acting like little children on the bench, like they were watching. That's a rare thing to get to in the NBA. And Klay, and it's weird always watching Klay. You would think, oh, he's a little stiff in the hips or something. I don't like, but man, you give him just an ounce of space. Like, I think the first game I remember thinking he was like really legit was when he got into a little beef with John Wall. And that was kind of I don't know if you guys remember that, like his rookie year, he gets into a little beef with John Wall. He doesn't say anything, but he gets into a little thing and John Wall's over there talking a lot of trash to him. And I feel like that one to me was the number one thing where I was like, and then that game 2 against San Antonio in the semifinals, where he just, after the Warriors lost on that Ginobili 3, he comes back and I think he had 7 first half threes. Is that off to the fire? They carry him to that. I was like, oh, that's where for me the game changer over with Klay. So that's kind of my reflections with him. Go ahead, guys.
Yeah, like you bring up the greatness of Klay, and I think the world of Klay. I think, like, if you put Klay on other franchises, like the Hardens of the world, and you give Steph, CP3, and Westbrook, and I think their careers could be in different, like, directions. They could have gone the other way. I think Klay is the perfect player for any team. He makes every team better. You can't say that about a lot of shooting guards. Like AI, I don't know if he's making every team better. Like, there's certain guys, like obviously Kobe, Jordan, those guys make everything better. But Klay is this guy who fits on any roster. He shut up. He played defense better than he got credit for. He deserved more all defensive teams than he got. He was always guarding the best perimeter player. But all the credit went to Draymond. He never said anything. And then the three-point shooting you brought up, the most white-hot guy I have ever – obviously Steph. And we've got to watch Steph, who's a greater shooter. Steph's the greatest shooter ever. But when white-hot, like the 37 points in the quarter you brought up, 61 and 3/4 on 8 dribbles, the things he do, like, it gives me goosebumps just, like, talking about it now. Like, he was just this special player that took me a year to get. I was like, man, this guy's kind of stiff, like you mentioned it. I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work. But as soon as that Love trade is when I fell through, and they started off white hot, I was like, okay, this guy is a special player, and he turned out to be everything you could hope for.
Casey, the other stamp of approval for me that I'll let you go is when Jerry West said I don't want to trade him. I'm like, I kind of trust Big Jerry. I was like,
the best
Jerry. But when he said that about Love, right? Because that was a real thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. As a Warriors fan, I mean, I kind of was like, it was a kind of a stamp of approval for me.
It's all going to get on a few different levels here. Tyler touched on a lot of different things. The $30 million that the NBA screwed him from not getting on the All-NBA team and got Kemba Walker on there is just so disrespectful to Klay Thompson. Not being on the top 75. There's just so many different there's so many different things that I thought that were validated. No, I mean, I had to get this out. And I just think he was probably the most underappreciated Warrior that's been around for a while. Those 2 injuries really set him back. But if you think about it, the Warriors never won a championship without Klay Thompson. So that's why I always say, like, Klay was the definition of a true Warrior. And, you know, getting a little off topic, but I was like, that's why I think I'm going to miss him so much, is because he did so much, not only just for the Bay Area. When we are Raider fans, and now you watch this, it's like, let's just not go back down this route of another 10, 15 years of just terrible basketball.
You said that very well. It's like, it's hard to not appreciate a guy that played hard. That was always my thing with him. And like, and he tried to get along with everybody. He was so simple, like, with everything. Like, that was the thing I kind of remember, is like his simplicity in his prime. I feel like as he got that injury, I think we mentioned it. He did get a little crankier. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? He was a little more open. I felt like, but that's when things are going pretty well too. That changes some things, but I don't know that I choose to remember him for like those moments. I'm going to get game 6 up here in a little bit. I mean, like, those were real things that he did. Like, I mean, I feel like that's the number one thing that everybody's going to remember about Klay is Game 6. But like I told you, I think it's Game 2. Like San Antonio for me is a secret one. I mean, you guys, Tyler, you got like some other things with him, like a memory that brings up like another game there.
I went to Game 2 against the Rockets in the first round series where Steph got hurt in Game 1. And there was like, Dwight Howard, James Harden. And Klay just dominated. I think he scored 35. And I was sitting in the rafters just like, this guy is – I wish – like, I hope people don't remember these last 2 years as Klay. Because this was such a shell of Klay. Even though he was averaging 20 and 17. Yeah. And he still shot okay. He had good game. But he would go off the rails for a week sometimes. Pre-injury Klay was – I wish he got to play in like a – system. I don't wish he did because I enjoyed him playing for the Warriors. But I think people would appreciate if he was the number one option and an offense was built around him. Imagine him being the Rip Hamilton on the Pistons. Like, there's levels, or even AI, where you just play a great defensive team, and he's averaging playing great defense, even add on to it. And then you just have this shooter who can come off screen to just be a sniper. I just think he's, like Casey mentioned, he's the most underappreciated star in the last.
He played at that time. It was different the way they did the awards. He played with a lot of good shooting guards in that time, at that era when he first came in. That was a tough position. But you're right about the Kemba, the third team. Kemba was magical. They got the Hornets in the playoffs.
Cardiac catch.
Kemba just retired yesterday.
What do you think the most points he's ever averaged in a season is?
Klay?
Yeah.
22.8 with KD and Steph that year. So he said he wasn't going to sacrifice.
Very close, 22.3. Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's the most he's averaged. He had a couple 22 back-to-back. But he also had to guard the toughest guy a lot of the times with the Warriors too. So you had to give him that too. That was always the biggest thing on the guards. His competitiveness for me is one of the things they'll miss the most. Like it's the end of for us watching just great basketball on a nightly basis. Like there was a short span where it was as good as it got. Right? It was literally as good as it got. I feel like Casey, that Game 5 and Game 6 versus the Raptors, if you go back and watch those, he was really good in those as well. And then we did that one versus the Rockets Game 1, and he was very good defense. There's it's just funny to go back and watch those ones as well. So I mean, Game 6 versus the Raptors and Game 5, the one where they had to win in Toronto, he was clutch. He had a huge. He had what you would say is just like we went back and rewatched that. You'd be like, those are the money shot. That's Klay right there. Like get money on the line. You give him a look, he's making it. That was the key there.
You brought up games. I was thinking probably 3 that really, really stand out to me was the Indiana game, the 60 points on 14 dribbles, only held the ball for 90 seconds, which is just insane. I mean, that's just nuts. The 14 3-pointers against Chicago. I would say that's up there. And then the 52 points where Steph sat out and he closed it against the Hawks in regular season. I think those are probably the 3 most outstanding games that I can recall. Just watching them, we're like, this guy's ridiculously good. I told you the other day and you laughed at me, but I said I would take him over Kawhi Leonard during that period.
I don't think so. Tyler, would you?
Over Kawhi? No. I mean, healthy Kawhi, no. But I'd take him over most shooting guards. I'd take him over Harden.
But it's not as far off as you would think it, though, Tyler, right?
I think
you would take him over Harden?
He's a harder person to find on a team. You can find a guy who's going to get you 30, but play no defense and kill you on the defensive end.
Yep.
A guy who's going to compete, shut up. That doesn't have to be the number one option. Obviously, the better, skilled basketball offensive player is James Harden. But I think that's why I appreciate Drew Holiday and, everything he does for that Boston team. I'm if you're competing on both ends, you're making shots, you have to be guarded. It just sets everybody else up. Where James Harden has to have the ball, dribble 14 times, and you have to run a specific offense that isn't conducive to winning in the playoffs.
So maybe we take that to. I know we got a little short, about 10 minutes here. Where does that go with the Mavericks now? As he heads to the Mavericks, I know Casey, you think they're heavy favorites now, maybe, or
I have them winning the chip now. I would say it's a rematch. I'd say it's Boston and Dallas again.
Is Klay that good now to help them enough? That's kind of where
Kyrie and Luka are that good. All he's got to do is take the shots Jones, Washington, Green, and
We said he's clutch.
Dante Exum were taking. I mean, those are like 8 open threes a game.
What do you think, T?
Luka's in his prime.
I still worry about the defensive end of the field or the end of the floor with those three guys because Clay's lost his, like I mentioned before, these last 2 years aren't the same Clay. He can still shoot the ball, but he has these nights where you're like, man, can you still shoot the ball? But he'll have a night where he's unreal. I think the defensive end will be a struggle for Dallas with those
My
three
push,
guys, 1 through 3.
my pushback is that you have Lively and Gafford behind you, so that's going to help.
Oh,
Well,
we
then you
saw
get a lot of double teams if they're both on the floor at the same time, though.
If Luka can play a little bit of defense,
You got to play some.
Kyrie was so bad in the finals too. For a while too, that it didn't help. Like, I don't know. I'm interested to see if Klay can raise his play again like that. I felt like he lost a step or two. The Jet would say, but so we'll see. We'll see what he has left in the tank. But it did seem like that. And I don't know. Like, I feel like that's for like as a Warriors fan, I'm also like I can't rip on. I really want to rip on Mike for a lot of things, but the Warriors got nothing for they had the Chris Paul thing, the contract. They could have traded him for any player. It could have been like a $15 million player and still got him back. You know, that was earlier in the season. They probably could have got it. They could have traded Klay earlier last year at the deadline if they wanted to, and got something for him. I'm just saying they didn't. They really got 2 second-round picks for him, and they got a trade exception that they're probably never going to use. And it's like I don't know. That's the part for me. It's like they turned Poole, Tompson, and that into 2. I don't know. I just feel like they didn't do anything. And I feel
Isn't that funny? Those trade exceptions. You're like, oh, we got a trade exception. They never get
give me
you.
a break.
It's like a GM can go, well, I got this in the trade. And they never get you. Very rarely, at least.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just so GM can pop up a trade. I'm with you on Mike Deadly. You got to do something after the Chris Paul trade with Jordan Poole. Like,
we got
I like the trade because I'm glad Jordan Poole is not on my team anymore. But I wish you could still critique Dudley for doing nothing with that contract. Go get a guy who, like you said, who's worth $12 million, who they want to buy out Chris Paul for. Like, there's somebody you can get. Don't let him walk for free and then go play against you on the Spurs and help Wemby out doing his thing. I don't know.
It was
Bob Myers. Bob Myers is just laughing like, man, I got out at the right time.
Well, that was the thing. The Warriors hung on to these guys a little too long, and they draft. Obviously, Wiseman was the biggest thing, but that's not his free agent. But like they weren't able to turn like any of these guys. And I understand not trading Klay. Like that to me, it makes sense. Like it's hard that I get, but the Paul thing never made sense to me at all. And like honestly, but that is where cutthroat franchises like the Pats are good. Is they like Klay, you suck. We're moving on. Like we can care less about your legacy. You know what I mean? Like that. Honestly, I think he might have been traded 2 years ago if he was like on a Patriots team or something like that. Like with that type of mentality, or maybe I'm not saying I wouldn't be surprised, but in the NBA that's a little tougher to do. I feel like in the Bay Area they would have just got killed.
I just feel like I don't know. I think like if you look at the contract, 3 years, $50 million.
But they have no like taxes in Texas.
No, I know that. I just mean like I was thinking like KCP, like he got 66 mil. I was like, I feel like Clay's better than him still.
Do you really think he was that good last year? I mean, the Warriors did the playoffs last year.
Well, is that really on him? Draymond went
a little bit.
Bananas. Like he just lost it for like he missed like 20 games.
De'Aaron Fox was making them look like they were the best player in the league.
Well, Pajensky and Kuminga are like your second and third, and they're 21 years old, 22.
I don't think he liked being benched for pods. Probably either. He probably didn't like that.
And I heard before this or in this offseason, they offered him 2 years, $40 million, or he offered them, said, "I'll come back 2 years, $40 million." And they said, "Let us make some moves first." And he's like, "All right, I'm not waiting for you guys. F you. I'm gonna go do my own thing." I'm glad Klay just didn't go to the Lakers. If he went to the Lakers, I'd be having a whole different outlook.
Do you think there's a chance we get Laurie? Does this make things better if we get Mr. Market in?
Yeah, I'll be stoked.
I feel like we'd have to give up a Moody.
Kuminga's gone.
Yeah, Pajensky might be in there.
He can't throw all three in. Wiggins?
What?
Is Wiggins in the deal?
I mean, they'd have to
Send
get
Wiggins to
more
Utah.
back. His salaries aren't adding up.
Wiggins-
Markkanen's so underpaid.
I think the only thing it'd be interesting now it'd be curious to see how Moody and Kuminga play, knowing that Thompson's not there.
It'll be an interesting. It's going to be a fun season.
Like Thompson did have a little attitude problem at the beginning. Remember a little bit there. He had some stuff there.
He's been sour the last year and a half. He hasn't been the same. He used to be fun, playful but they were winning, and he was unbelievable.
So maybe the cranky employees leaving the office, and you get a little freedom there. The guys are low, but we'll see. He's in a good setting with the Mavericks, though. Ultimately, he's going to be able, like you said, a lot of those guys are going to create one-on-ones, and he should be able to get a lot of good looks. We'll see how he does in the playoffs overall. All right, before we kind of call it a show here, I was thinking Splash Brothers. We did mention it quickly here. The duo of Klay and Curry. Casey, is it better than the Bash Brothers?
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely say so.
And then you have Thornton and Marlowe. I had as the Sharks. That had to be your duo. I mean, they're both going to get their jersey retired, so it's got to be the duo.
Rice and Montana.
Young and Montana.
Yeah.
Posey and Bumgarner. I don't know where you want to go with this, but is this automatically the two best players? I mean, I know the old 70s age teams had a lot of good players too. But
I'd say Bo Jackson and Marcus Howland are up there.
Yeah, but that was LA still. I can't count that still.
They were in Oakland.
Not that. No, Marcus Allen never played for it, and Jackson never played for the Oakland Raiders.
Oh, that's true. Excuse me. You're right.
I think Curry and Tompson, like I said, I think it's really just Rice and Montana, and that's it. And maybe you could say in terms of pure athletes, because there was no playoffs, Mays and McCovey. I think that's one thing. I know, but in terms of just a duo, that's got to be right up there. Those are two of the best players at each of their positions of all time. I don't know, maybe Raleigh Fingers and Ray Foss. No, I'm just kidding.
And Walt Weiss.
I mean, Raleigh Fingers would definitely be on there, but you get my Reggie Jackson and Raleigh Fingers. I don't know, but they won 3. But where do you? I gotta believe Curry and Tompson with 4 puts them above anybody else in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I agree.
Pretty crazy. We just I mean, guys, I guess the reason we did emergency pod on this is just because Tyler, for us, and you were that's how special he was to our kind of entertainment for a while. It's he was a big part of that.
The second guy. He completed everything. He made it all work. I mean, Curry was best player, but I felt like Klay's defense mediated the defense with Draymond, and then the offense, you put those two shooters together. And then the ball movement too. Klay wasn't the greatest passer, but he was also a willing passer. He wasn't
That's a good point.
It got a little worse as the years went on, especially this last year. But early, he'd move the ball.
You're right. He didn't hog it like the Beal Wall kind of combination. That felt like a little off. It was good, but it wasn't perfect. Go ahead, Case.
I think Klay Thompson's 1 or 2 best second men of a championship team. I would put Scottie Pippen, the only guy close to him, on a wing player. I think that's how good Klay Thompson was during that
Kobe.
run. Well, Kobe, yes, yeah. I guess I was thinking more of a shooter, but yeah, you're right. As a 2, yeah. But just he was so incredible, man. Just the shots he would make, and the OKC game that they're about to get on, it's just an incredible shoot. How fast he gets that ball off, man. It's just one of a kind. We'll never see anything like this, I think, in the rest of the NBA till the day I die.
Yeah, that top of the key 3 where he's jab stepping, and the 3 that puts him ahead on the wing, going the other direction in the second half, or the 2 shots. And I'm like, my God.
I'm gonna get this up on the screen. It's our final tribute to Klay on the Warriors. It's about 2 minutes. So Ty, if you have to go, don't worry about it. But it is, and then I'll say my final thoughts. We won't go into a deep one. We'll find a little thought here, and we'll call it a show. But this is 2 minutes. Klay Thompson. I feel like this, guys, is what we'll remember most from him. Hopefully, it works out here with this.
Durant, his first, a 3-pointer. But Klay Thompson is mumbling, probably saying, finally.
Have that rhythm, the ball handling, the shooting. You see that It seems like he just is not comfortable.
Tompson, yes, another three for Klay Tompson. A rebound. Curry on the move. Met by Durant, and he pulls it back. Tompson wide open for three. Klay Tompson shooting them back into it from beyond that three-point line. Here's Tompson has been on fire, and he hits again. Klay Tompson, his fifth three-pointer. When the ball slows down. All right, here's Tompson again. Klay Tompson has given the Warriors a 1-point lead. 8-point lead for the Thunder. Here's Tompson who just checked back in and knocks down a three. Iguodala. Tompson, a rainbow three. Klay Tompson with his 8th three-pointer.
His catch and release. Are you kidding me? He's not even.
They're down the whole
Keeping
time.
it alive for the new possession. Tompson turning and shooting. What a shot by Klay Tompson.
Patience does. It gives him time to get set and knock it down.
A long three for Tompson at that. Third, and Robertson will hit from the line.
Don't let the pretty shot fool you. That's hard.
It is Iguodala. Tompson fires for three. Yes.
Guys, that's as good as it gets there as Klay Thompson. That three-pointer, I believe it was at the 4:59 mark I wrote down, where Kerr's like, he kind of throws up his hands as he is like, I think that honestly is the shot that one, and obviously the Iguodala, but that's the one where you're just like, special. And that was, and I remember that was the shot where you're like, no conscience whatsoever, and he built it up. Klay, thank you for the memories there along with it. Casey, we'll go to you, and we'll give Tyler the final word here.
Just a pleasure to watch, man, over these years. It's been phenomenal basketball, some of the best basketball that I will ever seen, especially, locally where you get to watch it for 10 plus years of, I would say, my prime of loving basketball and hoops, and watching all the horrible basketball that we watched before, and just realizing, like, these guys, Klay especially, went to 9 years, went to 6 finals. They played with Kevin Durant. That team, they won 73-9. Just the most ridiculous basketball you'll ever watch. I mean, they had, I think it was almost 152 points against the Bulls in the first half. I mean, it was so insane. And I'm going a little off on that, but it was an insane number. And just Klay Thompson just added everything to that, man. His personality, Captain Klay, doing all the things, riding his boat, losing the championship ring, just demolishing a fan, looking on his hands and knees, grabbing for his championship ring. Just awesome moments that are like, it's only Klay. Like, Klay is like one of a kind. Like, his quotes, Kevin Durant's coming, who's going to sacrifice? Basically saying, I'm not sacrificing shit. So, someone else has got to deal with that. And he was just like, how personable he was to the average fan of just like normality. He just, I don't know, it's a genuine sports figure that I think when I retire, I would definitely, if God bless, have kids, all those kids, it's just like, you will never meet another Klay Thompson, I think, in the Bay Area.
Well said, T.
We got to watch the best basketball maybe ever, and we got to appreciate it. Like, we actually sat down and enjoyed it. Like, we didn't take it for granted, and Klay was a big part of that. And on Klay individually, like I said before, he's most underappreciated, and his greatness will never be forgotten on my part. Like you said, Bentley will know who Klay Thompson is. He's worn his jersey. He has his jersey. And I'll appreciate it, and I wish him the best. It's a sad day, but it's, like I said, I think it's for the best. I think he is the best 3-and-D player of all time, and I don't think it's remotely close.
All right.
I agree.
For Casey Breyer, Tyler McGurk, Klay Thompson, thank you for everything. You gave Fat Boy Fadeaway Sports a lot of entertainment over these last 4 years, so thank you for that, sir. We'll see it on Dallas. Hopefully, we'll be able to beat you next year. We'll see it then. All right. All right, guys. Have a good one. We'll talk to you guys soon.
You know.
Peace.
Thanks.
Later.
But